I tried my best with the outfit today. She has very hard colors to replicate, but I did what I could. The braids help. Hey guys, welcome to another Quarantine Queen ranking. I'm Libby, Rank Master at Punzi's Palace, so if you enjoy this series, be sure to hit subscribe down below and hit the bell icon so you know every time I upload. Rules are only official Disney princesses.
Wait, what?
Well, plus Anna and Elsa. Only the original movie, and only focusing on the princesses' actions. Princesses can gain and lose points based on how they follow pandemic guidelines, and the princess with the highest score wins. So today we are looking at how Anna does in Frozen, and next Saturday will be Elsa and the finale. So really, hit the bell icon so you know when I upload so you don't miss it. Alright, so she starts out strong, getting hit in the head with some ice magic, which is sanitizing because magic is hand sanitizer. And also the trolls are like magical rocks. They don't count for interactions since they're magic and rocks. Then she gets locked inside the castle for a long time, secluded from her sister. And people speculate that she wasn't locked in the castle because they really only wanted to lock Elsa in the castle and Anna was more free to roam if she wanted. I don't think so. She sings throughout the song Do You Want to Build a Snowman about how lonely she is, and she's asking Elsa to play constantly. If she was able to get outside of the castle, she would be able to find other kids her age that she would be able to play with, but she doesn't get to do that. Maybe in her older years she did because there is a big jump, but I highly doubt it because of how excited she is to finally have the gates open. She wouldn't be that excited if the gates were open on and off again for her to go in and out, but they're not. She's really excited for them to open for the first time in forever. That's literally what the song is called. So yeah, but she was more interacting with the servants that were going in and out of the castle, even though they did reduce the staff. So I will only give her 3 points per year, whereas Elsa in her video will get 5 points per year since she was completely locked in her room and only interacted with her parents. Also, after doing some digging, it is agreed upon that Anna and Elsa are 3 years apart, even though it's not stated in the movie. And Anna was 5 and Elsa was 8 at the very beginning of this movie. And Elsa at her coronation is 21 years old, which would make Anna 18 years old. So that means that they were locked up for 13 years, which gives Anna 13 times 3 equals
39 points.
Whew, okay. Enough math, let's move on. So Anna will get some points for wanting to play with a friend for all these years. Really sad and sweet and really innocent, and definitely true right now, especially seeing my niece call everything her friend. She'll call a butterfly her friend, a slug, a moth. Yeah, definitely accurate. Oh, and Anna also talks to pictures, and then she attends her parents' funeral. There are a lot of people there, but no one's near her. She's completely by herself. And attending a funeral gets you more points. And then we see her sleeping in at the beginning, so points for that. I feel that. Also, interacting with the castle staff is fine at this point because she's been isolated with them for so many years. It's only when she goes outside that'll be the problem. A few points for being so awkward and not knowing how to properly interact with people. She literally sings, "There will be actual real life people. It'll be totally strange." Points because I feel like a lot of us are going to feel this way after the pandemic is over and we're able to go outside. We're not going to know how to interact with people like face to face. We only really use the upper half of our body at this point. But points off for putting these little goslings in her hands. She doesn't know them. They're definitely not magical. At least I don't think she knows them. But she does sing and talk to these little goslings. So there's that. And those are really the only animals that she talks or sings to throughout the entire movie. She doesn't really talk to Sven. She never sings to Sven. And she only talks to like Hans's horse. So she doesn't get the full 10 points, but she'll get about 4. Also, a few points for being so optimistic about meeting the love of your life on your first outing into the actual world.
What if I meet the one?
It's very naive, but very optimistic, and we need optimism right now. And also this is very relevant to how dating can be really hard right now because you're not really able to meet anybody. Wow, I am so glad that I have Michael. Okay, but then she goes out into a crowd of people immediately when the gates are open. These are people from far off lands and not just her kingdom, and she walks through all of them. And then she also touches this man's hand when she's getting down off a wall, so that's also not great. Then she's interacting with another strange man, but wait, he is wearing gloves. Hate him all you want, but he wears gloves for like 98% of the movie. But then actual minus points because they fall all over each other in the boat, and that's just really close proximity, so not good. And she also pets his horse, so And there are a lot of people at the coronation. She isn't standing near any of them, but from what I can tell, it's pretty closely packed in there, so not good. And there's also a lot of people at the party afterwards, so that's also not good. So let's see what happens. Alright, so no points off for Anna interacting with Elsa throughout the movie since Elsa is literally magic. I'll still give Elsa points and deduct points in her video like I did with Rapunzel since they're both literally magic, but it wouldn't be any fun to just say that they're fine. Then Anna dances with the Duke of Weaseltown.
It's Weaseltown!
Wesselton, whatever. And is dragged through the crowd of people, and he's wearing gloves, so that's good, but she is now a lot closer to a lot of people and he like dances in her face. Not great. Taking off points for that. And then she dances with Hans, someone she has met before, and he's still wearing gloves, but he is a stranger that she just met that day, so not long enough to quarantine with him, so still points off. And then later she does hit him in the face, which is hand touching a face, so also not good. But she does try to seclude herself away with him from the party. Throughout all of like Love is an Open Door, they're together and alone away from people, so points for that. But then she falls in love with a man she just met. I mean, this might happen a lot when we get out of quarantine because a lot of people will be desperate for love, human contact, so I get it. So grateful for Michael. So since Anna is just like Ariel in this sense, I'm gonna give her the same amount of points I gave Ariel. And then Hans and Anna go back to the party where there's all the people again and they wade through them to get to Elsa, so not good. And then she takes Elsa's glove and doesn't give it back. And that's just rude. And she also went through a crowd of people inside the castle and outside the castle to try to chase after Elsa. Not good again. And then she goes back through that crowd after Elsa leaves. But she gets a few points back for leaving all of these people to go and chase after Elsa and find her, so that's good. And then she goes into a store soon after that. It's a pretty empty store, but it is a store nonetheless where people have shopped and touched things, so. And she gets pretty close to Oaken, definitely not 6 feet apart, and is talking to him, so no. And then she does get close to Kristoff too, but wait, he's wearing a mask! Awesome! But Anna isn't wearing a mask, so she still gets a few points off because the best interaction is no interaction. But the best interaction after that is both parties wearing a mask. So just because one party's wearing a mask and Anna isn't, she definitely gets points deducted. Oh man. And then Kristoff takes off his mask and talks directly to Anna, so now we'll actually take points off. But then she does buy supplies for Kristoff that he wasn't able to afford. He's in a small business that's struggling right now because of the economy, you know, being in an ice business when there's an eternal winter. Not the best place to be in right now. So she's supporting a small local business that's struggling at the moment, and that's very essential to do right now. I've left a list of small Disney businesses that I really like from Instagram in the description down below. Go check them out, they're really good. But then she does decide to go with this stranger to the North Mountain. So a road trip with a stranger, not ideal. And then Kristoff spits on the sled to try to clean it, and it shoots back in her face. So she's also on this trip with a stranger with questionable hygiene and sanitation standards, so not great. She does whack a wolf away with a lute very effectively though, so that's good. And then she also saves Kristoff from falling to his death. Very nice. Oh right, and she's also wearing gloves now. Well, mittens. And so is Kristoff, so thank you, Winter, for helping them to cover up so nicely. And because of this, when her and Kristoff interact throughout the trip from this point, because it's only going to be fabric on top of fabric touching, it's going to be fine because that's just fabric on fabric. If there's any skin-to-skin contact, we'll deduct, but there isn't. Also, no points for interacting with Olaf because he was made from Elsa, and he's magic, and he's also snow and sticks, so he's fine. A few off for bringing a stranger to your sister's house without her permission. Not cool. But Anna does knock on the door and they open for her, and she does tell Olaf and Kristoff to wait outside, so that's something. And she does keep her distance from Elsa throughout that whole interaction with her. She never gets that close to her. This is about the closest they get. She does kind of run after her to keep talking to her throughout the sequence, but still keeps a really big distance, so that's good. And some more points for getting magicked in the heart. It's not great since she might die from that, but it is great sanitation. Then Marshmallow throws them out, but he was made from Elsa, so he's magic even though he is a monster. He's fine. She does gain a few points for getting a new hair color going on. I mean, sure, she didn't really mean to change it, but who really means to change their hair? I feel like a lot of people in the pandemic didn't mean to, but the desperation for a change and something exciting happening was just too much for them to handle. Also, this is nothing against people who change their hair. That's totally fine. Again, interacting with the trolls here is fine, but then she gets some minus points for getting brought in by the servants. She knows them, but they've been around a lot of people in the kingdom who are from far off places, and then she's in Hans's arms, and he's been around a lot of these same people, so not a good thing happening here. But I mean, hey, at least she doesn't kiss him. She does get locked in that room to die though, so a few points for that. And definitely some points for sacrificing yourself for your sister, saving a life, risking her own. Pretty awesome, very quarantine. And she gets magicked back to life, so yay, more sanitation! And just 1 point off for punching Hans in the face off the boat, because that is technically skin-to-skin contact, but she was getting him away from them, and it's really awesome. And then she drags Kristoff through a crowd of people, far away from them, but still around a lot of people. Not good. I don't know how much time they've spent together, but it's probably pretty soon after, so a few more off for them holding hands because they're not wearing gloves anymore. And then they kiss, and she's gonna get deducted for that too, because only Anna was magicked and sanitized. He has not been magicked and sanitized. And he shares carrots with the reindeer, but he did ask for consent first, and that's always a positive in my book, but we're in a pandemic and he needs to clean himself. Then at the end, she is in a crowd of people where they're all going to be ice skating. It is her kingdom and her people, but it hasn't been long enough for her to be isolated with them for it to be okay, and they are pretty far enough away from her, but then she starts skating and they get closer, so not great. So Anna of Arendelle finishes up with a grand total of 7 points. Honestly, she scored higher than I thought she would. So that puts Anna in 11th place, behind Pocahontas and a little bit above Ariel.
Unfortunately, no one guessed Anna's point total or final ranking position. Everyone guessed way too high for her, so hopefully everyone has a better understanding of how Elsa will probably do. I tried to drop quite a few hints.
Our last and final princess we will be ranking is actually turned into a queen within the first 20 minutes of her movie, but we'll still put her on here. It is Elsa, so leave a comment down below on where you think Elsa will rank in the finale and what you think her final point total will be. Also, next week will be the finale of the Quarantine Queen series. I hope you guys have enjoyed it, and please also leave a comment down below if you have any other ideas for different Disney series that I can do analyzing the movies. I'm up for suggestions. I have a few ideas, but I'd love to hear what you guys would like to see. So if you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, and be sure to subscribe down below for more Disney content and other content like this. And until next time, farewell.